everybody, my name is Farzana and I'm from Sprinkles and Spice. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all the Muslim viewers. And to commemorate the 15th of Ramadan, we usually have boeber. So there's nothing that completes boeber better than a koppie boeber. So I'm going to take you through my recipe and show you how to make mine. Boeber I find is a very personal thing. Although it's always thick and luxurious and a milky creamy drink, it differs from home to home. So I'm going to show you my take. I'm also going to go through the variants and the different ways you can make it. I will also be sharing a recipe on the Voices Facebook page as well as on my page. You'll be able to find it at Sprinkles and Spice CT on Instagram and Facebook as well as on my website. So do have a look at it, and for those of you fasting, enjoy your koppie boeber. So I'm going to go through the ingredients before we go any further. So my ingredients are as follows, bismillah. So I've got 4 heaped tablespoons of butter over here. If you don't have butter, you can use margarine. Just make sure that it's the full fat margarine, which is usually the block, the one you can bake with, not the one that you spread on your bread. Then I've got my whole spices over here, and this is cinnamon sticks and cardamom. No, I'm not using all the cardamom, but I've just got it in the bowl over here. And then I've got vermicelli over here, which is usually the fine noodle, but you can use vermicelli or lokshin, whichever one, both works just as well. And then I've got sultanas because my family loves sultanas. But if you like almonds, you can add in almonds. If you like coconut, you can add in coconut. This is about 2 tablespoons. So if you are adding in coconut or almonds, you can keep it to either almonds 2 teaspoons or your coconut 2 tablespoons if you like the coconut taste. Pinch of salt, because always when you're baking or making something sweet, I always find that a pinch of salt just brings out the right amount of sweetness in your dish. Fine cardamom. The reason why I'm using fine cardamom is because the sultanas and the cardamoms looks very similar, and you don't want somebody drinking a koppie boeber and oopsie, you think it's a sultana and it's a cardamom. So I use fine. 2 tablespoons of condensed milk, 2 tablespoons of rose water, a 1/4 cup of sugar, and a 1/4 cup of sago. So, a liter milk, which is your main important ingredient. So vermicelli, your sago and your milk and your sugar forms your base of your boeber. Like I said, I'll be taking you through my version at the moment. 1/4 cup of sugar I'm using. You can play around with your sweetness. If you like more sugar, you can add a half or a cup if you like a lot of sugar. I'm adding sultanas, and sultanas usually does add sweetness. If you're adding condensed milk or idle milk, that is sweet on its own, then just omit the sugar if you're adding a full tin of condensed milk. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to go through the ingredients while we're busy also, so bismillah. First thing I'm going to do is my pot is slightly warm, and I'm going to add in my butter. There we go. So now I'm going to need this butter to melt. Like I said, if you don't have butter, margarine will also do, but just don't use the one you're spreading on the bread. Use the full fat margarine. So I'm just going to wait for this to melt. And while this is melting, I'm going to add in my whole spices. So I'm adding in a cinnamon stick. Let me just break this to get extra flavor in there, bismillah. And I'm going to add in a cardamom. And don't worry, we're going to look for this at the end of the day. I'm giving it a slight squeeze just so that it can get those little seeds out. So I'm waiting for my butter to melt with my spices. Let's turn up the heat a bit. Okay, so my butter is melted. It's got a slight little bubble, and I see my cinnamon sticks and my little cardamom pods busy dancing in the pot. So we are ready for our vermicelli. So bismillah, I'm going to add it in. And that's the sizzle I want when I'm putting it in. So this vermicelli and the sago basically determines how thick your boeber is. We like a thicker boeber. If you do like a thinner boeber and like drinking it straight out of the cup and not eating it with a spoon, then you can always just add in extra milk. So just remember, when boeber does stand, it does turn a bit thick. All you're going to do is add an extra milk, and then that little extra milk is going to make it thin again. So what I'm doing with my vermicelli is I'm just basically stirring it around because I want it to slightly brown. I'm looking for a golden brown color. So I've broken it up into small little pieces. The vermicelli I used is 200 grams. You usually do sell it in a 200 gram packet. You can use the vermicelli or the lokshen. Some people traditionally like the red box with the little man's face on. Either way, either one works just as well. So what I'm basically doing now is I'm just busy stirring it because I wanted to not really fly all over the place, but I needed to go golden brown. Like the old people say, we want to screw it. So you want to fry it in that butter until it gets brown, or like my granny usually says, you need to booze it. So yeah, that's what I'm just waiting for at the moment. Okay, so this is what I'm basically looking for. I'm looking for a slightly golden brown color, and I'm just ensuring that all the vermicelli is coated very nicely in the butter. And if it's the first time you're making it, this smell alone is to die for. So now I'm going to add in my fine cardamom, which is my cardamom. Bismillah. So like I said, we did add in the whole one, but mine is very close to my sultana, so I prefer having fine cardamom, and we like that extra cardamom flavor coming through. So I just add in a little bit of fine. That was a half a teaspoon. It just takes it so much further. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so now I'm getting that vermicelli smell. And now I see the tips of my vermicelli is starting to turn golden brown. So I'm just going to reduce my heat. The reason being, when I add my milk in, I don't want the pot to be very hot that everything starts bubbling back at me. Okay. So I'm going to add my milk, but before I add my milk, I'm going to add my sugar. So Bismillah, this is a 1/4 cup sugar. The reason why I add my sugar in now is because I want that sugar to almost caramelize and melt into that butter and cardamom and cinnamon to release that extra flavor. So now make sure your pot is clean. Okay, so Bismillah. Now I'm going to go in for the milk. See, I've reduced my heat so I don't have that milk coming back at me. This is a liter milk. Like I said, I like a thick boeber, but if you like a thinner boeber, then you can use a bit more milk. You can use 1.5 liters up to 2 liters of milk. Okay, so now I'm going to add in my sultanas. If you do like almonds, you can add in your almonds and your coconut at this stage. And I'm going to add in my pinch of salt. There we go. I'm giving it a slight stir. And then I'm going to add in my sago. Like I said, this is a 1/4 cup. And remember, don't be afraid to use it, because the sago and the vermicelli actually makes up the creamy luxuriousness of the boeber. So Bismillah, I'm going to carry on stirring. Remember, when you're making boeber, the trick is that it's made with a lot of love and patience, because the heat needs to be on a medium to low heat, and you need to continuously be stirring to make sure that the milk doesn't catch to the bottom of the pot. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes later, and we've got a lovely thick creamy layer on top, and our boeber's gone so nice and thick, and our sago's gone translucent, which is clear, and that is usually the first indication that our boeber is ready. Remember, I've been stirring constantly, and like I said, I wanted a thick boeber, and this is the consistency that I am having. So there's two things we need to do. Like I said, there's lots of variations to this recipe, but my version would be the simple, easy peasy version. And what I always add is a little bit of rose water. I've got 2 tablespoons of rose water in here, so Bismillah, that's going in. I usually add that towards the end, as well as 2 tablespoons of condensed milk. So these 2 ingredients I usually add in at the end. Reason being, I want those flavors to come through. And yes, you can add them in the beginning, but if you add them at the end, they give more of an intense flavor. So this is what I'm looking for. I can smell the cardamom, the cinnamon, the rose syrup, the milky, and it's creamy. Like I said, if you wanted a thinner consistency, all you're going to do to this is add either a half a cup or an extra cup of milk. So now I'm going to simmer this for about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to turn off the stove and I'm going to dish up. So there we have it, our thick, creamy boeber. And I'm going to, bismillah, there we go. What better than a big, creamy cup of boeber to break your 15th of Ramadan. Like I said, we prefer a thicker boeber. That's why I made mine thick. But if you prefer thinner boeber, either add more milk or add less sago. The recipe you'll find on my website at www.sprinklesandspice.co.za, on the Voices Facebook page, or on my Instagram and Facebook page at Sprinkles and Spice CT. Ramadan Kareem to you all, and enjoy your boeber tonight. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.